What is your controversial D&D pet peeve? Let us know in the comments below. I enjoy tracking rations, water, and play with a rules-light version of encumbrance. Light, medium, heavy encumbrance is only used for non-magical flight. Otherwise, you're unencumbered until you hit your weight limit. Personally, as a player and DM, I find this encourages more spells being spent on utility castings, and gives a bit more bite to travel and exploration when some of the encounters can simply be creatures trying to steal your food, water, or pack animals. It also makes giving players trade goods as loot meaningful. Yeah, you found 200 gold pieces worth of loot, but it's a barrel full of pepper. Now you've got to figure out how to hoof it to town to sell. I don't know how controversial it might be, but I can't stand that druids only get 2 wild shape charges per short rest from level 2 to 19, then suddenly get unlimited at 20. Characters that are essentially done at level 1, with a story that can't possibly fit with being a level 1. I'm Deathnard Killmonger, legendary assassin and wielder of the Torment Sickle. Dude, you're a rogue with a pocket knife. You're famous for stealing Snickers bars. You can be a Death Nard in like 14 levels if that's what you want, but we've got to get there first. What are you supposed to do with that? My DM makes me roll for everything, and since I roll like shit, I fail a lot. We had some downtime while the wizard was ritual casting a spell. My barbarian with 20 strength was going to move some objects from point A to point B. Failed his athletics roll, so he couldn't do it. I really need to teach him the concept of, you succeed, but damn, you are tired now. Well, I have a few. Low intelligence does not equate to stupid. The handbook says int is reasoning and memory, and wisdom is perception and insight. I always viewed it as int equals book smarts and whiz equals street smarts. It drives me insane when I have a high whiz character with an int of like 12 and people treat them like they're dumb. They're smart, they just didn't go to school. On a related note, I hate that anything less than a 16 in a stat is considered low. A score of 10 to 11 is a normal citizen, so that's perfectly fine. Anything above that is good. People seeing a 12 and calling it a dump stat completely infuriates me. Not tracking consumables, including ammo. There's never any tension, ooh. Well, when you have 10,000 arrows instead of 20, it gets a lot harder to run out. People having no idea what they want to do on their turn. Like, they aren't paying attention even though they've been commenting on everyone else's. I don't know. Maybe I should cast Firebolt. What do you think? And then whoever they ask proceeds to hold their hand through the entire turn. My pet peeve is when my character should be better at something than I am, but my DM insists that they can't be any better than me at things they trained to do or know that I didn't. Also, when people insist that any D20 roll other than an attack roll can automatically succeed on a 20 or fail on a 1. Rules as written, only attacks can crit. Everything else is a house rule. Oh, also, treating an ability score of 10 as bad. It's average, my guy. Random commoners have 10s in everything. That's fine. Below 10, that's bad. A lot of stories about TPKs or player failures aren't because your players missed something important or took a risk they understood. It's because the DM inadequately described what was happening. When you're the DM, you have a clear idea in your head of how things look and feel, but your players only have your words to go by. If they should be terrified of a monster their characters would obviously recognize as high level, but they aren't because you didn't describe it properly, that's on the DM, not the players being idiots. They're not making informed decisions if you're not giving them the information. A lot of DMs like to pat themselves on the back for that kind of thing. Every encounter doesn't have to be fair or beatable, and including enemies the players can't easily defeat doesn't make me a bad DM. Your characters aren't stupid. They should know better than to charge into a dragon's den. and no amount of information can stop them from doing it if they're killmongers. Elaborate backstories, especially for low-level characters. Keep it to a paragraph at best. Your first level. You're playing out your formative time as an adventurer now. It also doesn't make sense if they're supposed to be a badass, grizzled veteran soldier, but they're a level 1 fighter. I know it's session 1, but no, I don't have every nuanced thing planned out about my character. I have personality, backstory, dreams, hates, and wants, but I don't know how they'll react to every single thing happening. I don't have a why for everything until it happens, and that's the fun of it. It's improv. When the DM says an attack misses the tanky fighter or paladin in heavy plate armor, the armor doesn't make the attack miss. The AC kept the attack from penetrating the armor. I think when enemies fail attack rolls, the story that tells should be more contextual to the player they're attacking than most DMs currently do. I mean, my pet peeve is that none of my players remember anything. Now this especially sucks when, as a forever DM, I'm keeping track of, well, the world. And if I don't remember to take a note about something, then by the next game, it's like no one remembers. Yeah, okay, I could have taken a note, but I was busy dealing with Creepy the Wizard, trying to murder a literal child because they wouldn't do what he asked, which was leaving the comfort of his home to go prank his mom and steal his late father's wedding ring because, you know, why not? It doesn't take much to write down how many manticore spikes you gathered after the previous encounter. Or when they buy an item or have one commissioned and don't even remember what for. They'll remember spending the gold, but not on what. Doesn't take much to add the item in D&D Beyond or shoot me a message about what they wanted a smith to make for them. Then they complain when the smith needs time to make the item and expect it to already be there. Like, dude, hold on, I've given you options for pre-made items, but you wanted something special. It takes time for the smith to realistically make it, and time for me as a DM to figure out how to balance it. Not coming up with even basic motivation for what their character is doing and why. Or when they get upset that, in an intense confrontation, I didn't pull my punches, even though I warned them beforehand to prepare. And they didn't. Or when I try to include a player in some storytelling by introducing something relevant to their character, and instead of engaging, they brush it off to get it over with quickly. Like, I'm trying to include you, dude. Not my fault you gave me nothing to work with backstory-wise. I don't even ask for much. Even a sentence would do. Now, to respond to the original poster, yeah, it can be rough having to roll to remember something. I've done this sometimes, mainly when I feel like just giving the answer would be disingenuous. What I mean is simply put, you have 3 or 4 other people at the table too. No one remembers this mission-critical knowledge given at the start of a quest? Okay, so you can't depend on your team. You can't remember it either? It took 2 seconds during a session to write down a name. As a DM, I'm like, if they're not giving effort to remember names or important details, yet they want me to treat them with full agency in every decision, then where's the equality here? But instead of making a big stink about it, let's roll for it because, well, in my mind as a DM, you'll probably succeed. And if you don't, work with your team. Talk to the wizard, ask an NPC, interact and figure it out together. Just like solving a puzzle. Meta planning during combat just grinds things to a slog and removes any sense of urgency. I try to discourage out-of-character banter during combat like, should I cast command? I'm low on spell slots. Or, should I run over to Grong Grong and heal him? How many HP do you have, Carl? PCs can speak briefly on their turn in character, no meta, and other PCs can use their reaction to respond. I'm not super strict about it though. I want to encourage role-playing during combat, so if the in-character talking adds to the scene, we let it roll. When players have no concept of keeping the game moving. I'm all for RPing out of character, NPC interactions, chats between characters, and slice-of-life moments here and there. But god damn do I hate when a player spends half an hour haggling with a shopkeeper or does their third perception check just to be sure there's no hidden treasure or trap. We don't get to meet up often. At some point, you just have to accept the price the shopkeeper gives or risk triggering the trap. Just keep the plot moving. Players who can't handle the outcomes or consequences of their decisions and then have a crash out or meltdown over it. It often ends with the DM revising what happened just to appease the player. I need a new fucking group. If we're on Discord playing online, please don't listen to your own music. I put a lot of time and effort into searching for thousands of music pieces for everyone to enjoy the atmosphere. Please don't drown it out. That paladins can basically do whatever they want and don't have to be a certain alignment. This includes multi-classing with Warlock. This is incredibly bad. I can see potential reasons or situations for it to make sense, but almost everyone I see does it purely to min-max, not because it fits their character's story in any meaningful way. And the fact that paladins don't have to be lawful anymore made it worse. Now you have insane Nova damage power without any moral or thematic commitment. Them removing that power and then also removing the commitment just makes it worse to me. I know there will be 1,000 people replying and downvoting, probably in the comments, but I'm just being honest. This is my pet peeve. I don't like what they've done to the paladin class over time. I'm not trying to argue, I'm just trying to contribute to the discussion. Paladins must remain faithful to their oath, one way or another. My pet peeve that gets my goat the most, I just love that sentence, is when other players don't clue in that a scene has dragged on for far too long. Like asking questions and never being satisfied with the answers, getting into circular arguments with NPCs, or trying to go full Dwarf Fortress levels of complexity on a situation. Bonus points if the DM doesn't know how to say no to these types of players. I know this type of play is rarely malicious, so bringing it up can be a toss-up on whether it'll come across as offensive, but there has to be a limit to how long a single story beat can go in a session. Hey everyone, Brian Von VA checking in after the vid. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe, ring that bell, and let us know in the comments below what is your controversial D&D pet peeve. And if you ever want us to keep on making videos and maybe get some early access to them too, join our membership program. You'll get our eternal gratitude and a whole lot more. We love you all. Please be safe out there, love thyself, and we'll see you next time. Toodaloo for now.